Welcome back to the Asylum. I'm Kane.
I'm Deshaun.
And we are the Arkham Inmates. And we have just gotten out of the theater. We have just watched Fantastic Four: First Steps. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, then we're going to do the non-spoiler review right in the beginning, as you know, with our reviews. But if you haven't seen our little snippet of our out-of-theater reaction to it, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I am a big fan of the Fantastic Four, so I really liked this movie for what it did. And there were some parts of it that I didn't like. That wasn't why it wasn't a 9 or an 8.5 or even a 10 out of 10 or anything. But it was a low, I'll say a low 8. It was like a 7.9 if going to an 8. But I'm going to just go to 8. I think you said a 7, right?
The more I thought about it, I want to go to 6.5.
6.5?
Yep.
Wow.
This movie was very, mid for me. It didn't feel... Yeah. I didn't feel like... I think Johnny carried this movie. Reed was cool. They sidelined Ben. He didn't really do anything.
See, I have points with that disagrees because they did Ben Grimm perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, he flied, and that was awesome. But Sue did more than Reed, in my opinion. I really liked Sue in this movie, but Johnny kind of carried it. And then Galactus was cool.
Galactus was perfect.
But there's one part of this movie that really bothered me.
Yeah, which we'll get into the spoiler review.
But
my take on it, I really loved all the characters with it. I love the look of it. This movie's gorgeous. All of the power sets look great. Like Mr. Fantastic stretching looks great. There's a really dope scene with him and Galactus with the stretch, which is pretty good. I really love the way the thing looks. It looked great in every scene. They did a good job with that. I think Johnny, like you said, Johnny was I didn't think he stole the movie or was he carried the movie. I wouldn't say Johnny did that, but all of his scenes were great. I would say that it's a different take of Johnny. It's not Chris Evans' Johnny, but it's also his own version. I don't think it is worse than or same. I wouldn't prefer Chris Evans over that. I think he played a great Johnny because I think Chris Evans' Johnny focused too much more on the hot-headedness rather than him being smart. They made him really smart in this. Johnny is just as smart as his sister, if not a little bit smarter with things. And same with Ben. They didn't make just the thing, which that's where I'm going to disagree with you on. I think the Thing was done perfectly because it wasn't the Thing. They never called him the Thing. They called him Ben the whole movie, and it's Ben Grimm because I am more of a fan of Ben Grimm character as the Thing rather than the Thing. I'm a big Fantastic Four fan, so I've read a lot of Fantastic Four comics, and the thing that gets me with him is that it's Ben. It's never the Thing.
But that's not
it's
the point
Ben.
I was trying to make
so
at all with
no,
that.
I know, but I'm saying you say he got sidelined. I don't think that because he's supposed to be one of the world's best pilots, and he was doing that the whole movie. He was piloting their ship. He was helping do the slingshots and working with Reed and Johnny with giving the call-outs. His flight skills were amazing, going with Silver Surfer in some scenes, and in him using a lot of his scientific stuff. So I think that was a big part of it. Also helping with Reed and everything, and also him.
He did nothing but motivate.
I'm saying
there was
that
no scientific nothing except for him flying.
No, he was helping figure
did
out
what?
some of the stuff with
No, he wasn't.
Okay. I believe that when I was watching it and in him talking with Reed about certain things, like when Reed is explaining the teleportation device and Ben was talking with him and they're like, oh, well, you need to worry about this, you need to think about this, and then he's like, oh, what about this? Or whenever the Thing is not Thing, but Ben, whenever he's holding which we have Franklin in this movie. He's born at the beginning, which I think we called. But he's talking to Reed about all the ways that they can, try to stop Galactus. And all four of them give great points. And, Johnny gives good points. And then Kirby gives good points of Invisible Woman. And then Richard is they're like, hey, what do you got? And that's why they're so back on
That did not even happen. What are you
talking
talking about? She literally got pissed, went invisible. He had a suggestion on how to...
No, that was after. I'm talking about when he's wiping the board, and then it goes from Johnny, and Johnny is like, what if we do this, this, and this? And then it went to Ben, and he's like, what if we do this and this? And then she's like, oh, what if we do this? And then they're like, yeah, what do you think, Reed? And then that's when he wipes the board down.
What part are you talking about? Before, you said when he's wiping the board. What, happened before?
So Ben is holding Franklin.
Yes.
And they're all on the couch, and they're trying to figure out what to do. And Reed is sitting there letting them talk, and it goes from Johnny, it goes from Ben, and it goes from...
Ben contributed nothing really scientific.
Okay. He gave one of his plans. I don't know his exact words, but he said we could also do this, and it was scientific. It wasn't just a dumb meathead like how he's portrayed in the original, which I don't like, and then also Fan Four Stick,
it doesn't
which
have
I
to be
don't
dumb
like.
meathead, but it was definitely borderline just. It was not scientific, really. It's more common sense. If he did offer anything, it wasn't anything super scientific.
I disagree, but also I didn't go into this movie wanting to see the Thing punch stuff. That's not why I wanted to see that. That's not what his character was for in this movie.
And I'm not saying that either, but they definitely didn't do much with that character.
That's fair. I just disagree because he did everything.
When I say he was sidelined, they didn't really do anything with him besides flying.
I see him as more of the, like, the heart of the movie.
Well, I didn't feel that at all because he didn't really do anything.
In the movie, there's a lot of good stuff with him. Just on Ben, a lot of the stuff with him.
Saying mediocre things to Richards.
Can I talk?
Good.
I'm saying he can have in my opinion, everyone's gonna watch this movie and take whatever they take. I love that they have him be the chef. That's very comic accurate. They have him cooking and working with Herbie and working with a lot of stuff in the kitchen and in just the overall keeping the household together. He motivates Reed a lot, and he motivates Sue, and he has this good battling with Johnny. I think that the banter between them was really good. I thought it was really fun when it was needed, and it wasn't overbearing. I also thought a lot of the stuff with the street tier stuff with him getting groceries, with him walking around, with him showing the kids. Also, the slight love interest with the girl from the comics. I think her name was Rachel in the comics. I don't know if it was in that, but also him kind of going to check on her in her group and to check to make sure she's okay before the big end fight scene with Galactus, which you guys could probably infer. All was great stuff. Also, all the stuff with him going up, and like I said, the flying was great because he's a pilot first. So I love how this movie was Ben Grimm and not the Thing. So, and he just kind of kept he was like the big glue, because in this I feel like Pedro Pascal was a good Reed. He wouldn't be my pick. I think he played it well, but it felt like he was very separate from everybody, which is good for his character, but he was very like, I'm gonna do, like, every time you're with him, it felt like he was separate from everybody and everyone trying to get him to be more teamy. Like, and I think Johnny was the most teamy person here. He was he did his own thing. They made him really smart instead of just being a hothead. He was actually really smart and using his brain to help out with stuff, with figuring out the language of, Shalabal. And then, I just love the family aspect of this. We don't need an origin story. We don't need to see scene by scene by scene of, like, really long 3 to 4 minute scenes of their powers and what they do. We got really cool glimpses of it. We got this really cool scene of Torch soaking in the fire. Great visual with that. I think that's a good power set that they don't do, which he does. He can do that a lot. He does that for, like, if a building is on fire, he'll take the fire and everything and put it in with him. And I think they show that very well. And I also think that the CGI for the fire was really good.
It was.
Like the lighting of it. There was a certain scene that I liked where the blackout, and he's like Johnny, and then he just like, it's good. So like, I think the lighting was perfect, and he's just sitting there like, yeah, like he was kind of like the little brother. I like him. I wouldn't say I'd like him more than Chris Evans, but I wouldn't say Chris Evans is better than him. But this to me felt like an Invisible Woman movie. Really, this was like very heavy on Invisible Woman and her as a character, but also her as her politics and her as keeping everything going, as well as having Franklin. And this is a very big Franklin movie, I will say too. This whole plot revolves around Franklin. And what can Franklin do? What will Franklin do? Why does Galactus want Franklin? What does he want to do with it? Everything has to revolve around this baby, which I will say at some points got a little dry. And the pacing at the beginning to get there was very
it didn't pick up at all
slow burner
until they brought the baby back.
Yeah, until they dropped down. And even then it was kind of like yeah, I personally wouldn't even, I would say it wouldn't even pick up until we met Galactus. Like, until, like, that's when we were like, ooh, cool. And then it's, like, dropped down again. Like, it would show something really dope. Like, with the Mole Man, I was like, okay, cool. And then Mole Man was gone. Which, he was cool. I love underrated stuff. I think it was Fing Fang Foom. But I'm going to go with that because it's the big green monster. It's Fing Fang Foom. That's what I think it is. I don't know who else it would have been. But they show that, which was really cool. They took, I heard John Malkovich. They cut him out entirely. He had a whole scene of being what is it called? The Tinkerer? or something like that with the apes and everything. They had a fantastic Mr. Fantastic scene with him kicking the ape off the antenna.
Yeah.
But it was they cut John Malkovich out of the whole thing, which was odd because that was in the beginning trailer. I guess I got to read up on why they did that. Maybe it just didn't fit the flow of the movie. But yeah, I mean, overall, I gave it an 8. I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. I think that we got a lot from every character and enjoyed the family dynamic, which was really big. And I'm also like, I was walking into this not expecting an origin film. I was expecting all these characters are already, we know who they are. This is predated. We don't need to see a whole like, you know, sky high power set. Like, ooh, what can they do? Like, I already know what the Thing can do. I already know what Susan can do. I already know what you know, what these people can do. So it's more like them using their abilities when they need to, but we don't need to ride on that. It was a very science movie, very problem solve movie, very like, let's focus on what to do to then get the result we want, which I really liked about it.
I know I'm not an incredibly huge Fantastic Four fan. I really love Johnny as a character, but regardless, if you're gonna give a movie that level of like high of a score, I feel like even if you're not a fan, you would be like, wow, that was a really good movie, for it to be up there in that thing of numbers. And I feel like a lot of people, well, maybe, I don't want to speak, but that was a very slow movie, and I feel like the ending didn't even really give it the worthwhile of a slow burn like that. A lot of the things I want to say, we're going to have to kind of wait until we get into those spoilers.
Spoiler review.
But yeah, that's kind of just my non-spoiler take on it.
We're going to go scene by scene with this movie, like we do with all our reviews. Go through the entire movie, meaning we're going to spoil the hell out of everything. So if you have not seen it, this is coming out Monday of next week, so opening weekend's over. So if you're not one of those guys that have seen it, you want to wait till later or wait till the crowds leave, then do not watch the rest of this. Go watch it for yourself. See what you like about it. I also prefer, and I know this is more of a personal thing for us, but I go to a good theater, and that's not to shit on ours, but like the sound system, I barely heard a lot of stuff.
And they whisper a lot in
they
this
whisper,
fucking
yeah,
movie.
they whisper a lot in this movie, but also like Galactus's voice didn't bang when it should have, and I think if we see it at Cinemark, it's gonna bang more. But I think that's another thing that kind of drew me out before we get into spoiler, is that like the big huge fight scenes don't feel impactful because it's 50% music, 50% visual. And you know what I mean? Like the music, the sound wasn't there. Like I couldn't really hear anything. So anytime we heard big punches or him like anytime the Thing was screaming like "Get him, Johnny!" it wasn't loud. It was like he was whispering. And like I didn't.
What time is it?
What time? Yeah, it didn't feel impactful. There was no like music. It just, our sound system and the one that we go to purposely because it's tradition. But I go to a really nice theater. It would probably be more enjoyable when I take my mom probably this Tuesday or next week. I probably will like it more. I won't change my score, but I'd probably be able to hear everything. There's a lot of stuff I did not hear. I mean, I remember you being like, what are you saying? Like, I had no fucking clue, dude. But yeah, other than that, we are getting into spoilers. So right now, we are getting into the spoiler review. You have been warned. We are about to rip through this movie scene by scene. This movie starts off
bathroom scene
with
pregnancy.
Yeah. So it starts off with her. It kind of starts off with Reed being nerdy. He's looking for some whatever the fuck it was. And it's her in the bathroom. She's pregnant, and we get straight into the trailer scene where they're like, "Oh, you're pregnant? Okay, cool." And it kind of goes into like, we're already having like the babies. Like we fast forward a lot, so that's one thing that I picked up on that it didn't bother me. But there's a lot of time jumps in this that you kind of have to pick up by the set designs, because we go through Thanksgiving, Christmas, and into the next year, the 9 months after she's pregnant again. After she has is fat, and then we're back to Halloween, and then that's when Silver Surfer is on Halloween, around Halloween. So it's a very time jumpy, which can get a little messy, but it was a little slow in the beginning. But
I think a lot of the beginning of the movie was just everything we saw in the trailer.
Yeah. A lot of even them going up, even them doing the whole thing. We don't see them getting the powers or any of that, which is good. I didn't need that. But I do like it was doing like kind of the flashback. It had like the square, the 60s visual was really cool, and they were like
just explaining it.
Yeah, and they were doing the Gilbert show where he's like, "We're meeting the Fantastic Four." So it's kind of just the exposition. of who these people are and blah blah blah. Really cool stuff is they do stuff through newspapers, like comic books. I really love that. They did the whole thing. A Mole Man is in this, which I really loved. That was a really cool thing for me because I grew up with Superhero Squad, and Mole Man was a big part of that. And Mole Man's a very underrated character, but I just love like Fing Fang Foom and all the monsters in the subterranean underneath. And they do that in this movie a lot, actually. He was in it a good bit. And I was I liked how they included him instead of having him a little tiny cameo where he gets arrested and he's like, oh, screw you, Fantastic Four. They have him come in and he's a part of the politics. He's a part of the subterranean world and the overworld and how they coincide. He's also one of the reasons the Future Foundation is created. And then he comes in at the end of the movie to help out. So Mole Man was done well. I think them getting Paul Hazer was funny.
Yep, that was a good pick.
That was a good pick. He's funny in this. He looks. They did the glasses too. It's a cool little nod. Yep. But they didn't do a staff, or maybe I didn't see it. But Mole Man has the fucking staff thing that he holds. I wish they did that, but so it's kind of like a montage of them like, oh, thank you, Fantastic Four, like all that, and then we get into the title sequence, Fantastic Four, and then they're all in their suits. They then come back and they're like, okay, cool, like everything's fine, you know, and they do the dinner scene where he's like, okay, yeah, and then that's where we get the whole thing of, oh, you're pregnant, blah blah blah. Johnny does a little funny stuff. Reed is like, okay,
prepping it.
Yeah, he's being Reed.
The world.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta prep everything in this house. So they start plugging the outlets. He start putting the knives up, and Herbie does. I love Herbie in this. They really killed it with Herbie. So Herbie does everything. He's like the little maid, but he's the little, he's the house person. So he's like putting socket covers and he's putting the knives up and he's doing a lot of a little funny thing with him. And then
after that, we get to Reed. So they're on the balcony and he's talking about how he baby-proofed the world by helping the police do shit with the gangs and set them up to kind of get rid of the percentage of crime or whatever.
Well, it's also another thing is he's in the mindset of that they can't always be there because Franklin's going to be there. So he wants to increase like the protection around, and then it goes right into Silver Surfer coming in. Who the fuck are you? Right. The whole charade, and then it goes into another full trailer scene where we see Shalabal. I herald your end. I herald his beginning. And basically, she tells him, "Hey, Galactus is coming. You've been targeted. Love your loved ones. Blah blah blah. You got. I think she said you have. I forgot what time it was, but she said you got a couple months left. Is what it was. So then she shoots off. So Johnny, which is in the trailer. A lot of this, the first part's in the trailer. So he follows her, and then she speaks her native tongue to him, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then she flies off. Yeah, and then he comes back down, and he's like, they have this whole joke where, "Oh, she talked to me," and then he's like, "Oh, she talked to you," and it's another. Johnny it's a funny joke.
Stars in her eyes.
Yeah, and he's like this beautiful face, and I saw my face inside of her, And then I love how it's just like, oh, I get it. Johnny loves space. Johnny loves women. Space women. Oh, cool. And it's a funny thing. I also love the banter between him and Ben. I think it's really good. I think it's better than what the trailer showed. I don't think it's as good as Chris Evans and the other guy. I think that's just a little bit better just because
I think their
the
banter
2000
was a bit
comedy
more calm compared to the
well, I think the 2000s comedy, they were able to amp up shit. So like him making the sex jokes of like, oh, I don't want her to die in a rock slide, like that's funny because we grew up with that humor, and I really love dark humor like that.
Or they did like an entire montage where Johnny was like put whipped cream.
Yeah, like it's early 2000s
yeah,
shit.
so like
this one was more of like
a lot more calm with shit. It was, like, hey, what time's it been? It's like, get inside.
It's more like rage bait. It's but it fits. It fits this style in this world. So we then get this whole thing of like, now everyone's freaking out, right? And so they're like, you know what? They do a press conference and they're like, we're gonna go up and we're gonna meet this Galactus. They're so confident. And they're like, we're gonna go meet this Galactus and we're going to, defeat him, or we're gonna talk to him, right? So they fly up. This is where we get really, I love this. We get Ben's flying. Ben's like getting the planes ready. They're all getting ready. They're all doing the stuff. They all got the suits on. It looks really fucking good. Love the colors in this too. The blues and the whites. Really good. And so we get this moment where Reed is kind of like, he's super scared because Sue's pregnant and he wants to protect her, but they go up, and so when they basically get to, it's like a separate planet. And the way they get there is they have this, basically a time jumper, like a space-time thing, like this big machine that lets them jump through space-time. And it's really cool. I was not expecting that, because I was like, oh, how are they going to get there? So they get to the planet, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And then the planet just fucking explodes. And it's this humongous, like, I like the way that they have Galactus eat planets. So there's this huge, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a trash compactor looking thing, like a garbage disposal, and it sucks in all of the planet, and then it shoots it through these long tubes that go into
his back or neck.
Yeah, go into Galactus's back, and it fuels like his body. And it's just really cool. It looks like it's a huge mechanic. So they go through, they're like, oh, so they use Sue, she like turns the thing invisible, the whole ship. Really dope. Really cool power set.
Can we also mention real quick, they showed Sue's power with Reed being able to see the baby. Before all this, like, he was worried about the baby, and she like made her
that
skin
was really cool.
transparent, and we could see the baby in Sue. That was a really cool show of her
That was
powers.
really sick, and the CGI was nice too. Like, it was, I didn't even think of that. Like, she was like, oh, you want to see him? Fine. And because he's freaking out, he thinks it's gonna be, because he thinks the DNA that they have, the cosmic thing that fucked him up, he thinks it's gonna distort the baby. And but it was really cool to see that. I didn't even think of that. I love they do Silver Surfer great. I actually love Shala Bal. They did her very well, and she like phases through, and then things like, Johnny, your girlfriend's back, and he's like, okay, whatever. And then she's like, you should not have come here, but Galactus will see you now. And which I love. I love how he's not just this eater. He's actually like, they got Galactus perfect in this. But, so we move through, and we get into this long fucking, like, it's this mechanical ship. It's insane. And she's like, okay, Galactus will see you now. And I love his entrance. I think it was perfect. It was,
like the eyes.
Yeah, it was huge, smoky. They're kind of looking forward. They're like, where the fuck is this at? And then you just see the big blue glowing, the like the fucking, and you're like, holy shit. I even said that. I'm like, holy shit. They really got the scale right. And all of them are like, oh fuck. Like, even Reed is kind of like taken back. Like, he's like, what am I supposed to do? But he then talks to them, and he has this thing where he scans the world with his eyes. He can see everything. And so he scans, and he sees Franklin in her stomach, and he's like, I want the baby. And he's like, you've come for mercy. And Reed's like, oh, we come to talk, you know? But he's like, I'll take the baby, and then I'll spare your world, which I fucking called. I don't know if I said this theory on the channel, but I was talking with my brother weeks ago. My theory was that they were going to trade Franklin to Galactus to spare the planet, but they were not going to do that, so they were going to sacrifice the planet, which I called the first half. I was like, sweet, that's the way we're going. And they come up with cool ways to do it, which is really cool, but Galactus is like, I'm going to destroy your world either way. Like, if you don't give me the baby, I'll destroy it. If you do give me the baby, but you try to take it back, like, the only way you're going to win this is if you give me Franklin, because, and they actually play on this. So, Galactus isn't scared of him like he is in the comics. Galactus wants to die, which was a really cool play on that twist. He is so tired of this endless hunger that he has, because he said he was
billions of years worth of hunger.
Well, he said he was small like them, but then something cursed. I forgot what it was. I really couldn't hear. That's what it was. I couldn't hear the lore. But he said he was small like them, and then he got like a surge of cosmic power, and he had to keep eating. And then he got to the point where he was so big, he just had to devour planets, and it's just, but he hates it. He's just this relentless hunger. So Franklin, he was saying that Franklin will have the same fate. So technically Franklin will be another Galactus, or he's powerful enough to take his throne. So it was really cool to see like that twist. I like that. And obviously they're like, no, we're not giving you Franklin. So he's like, all right, I'm just gonna destroy your world. So he sends Shala Bal to take the baby, and then we get this whole crazy running scene and all that. But before that, I forgot. Human Torch has this little moment with her, and he's like, hey, what did you say to me? And she's like, oh, in her native tongue, and she says it again, but then she's like, it means die with your loved ones, or die with yours or something. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And that plays later. But they get out of there, but then they have this awesome chase scene. I love that. I thought that was really cool, with showing Surfer's capabilities. You know, her just like determination was really cool. And then there's a moment in it where like I think Johnny like hits her, And then we're like, oh, cool, thank God. But then she just shoots to the board. It's so good. And it just shows how powerful she is.
Yep.
And
then they transport themselves to a black hole.
Yeah. And it shows also, like, Ben is getting really good piloting. Like, they show how great of a pilot he is. And being able to do the slingshot and be able to trust Reed, but also to be able to fly that motherfucker.
And at the same time, Sue's in labor.
Yeah. They do that baby thing where they're like, oh, she has to be in labor. Also, Johnny is, like, staying with it, like, on point with Ben. Like, they're all working together great. I think that was great in this movie. Of them working together as a team.
I wish I would have saw more of the dynamic between, because I am a big fan of the Sue-Johnny dynamic.
Oh, sister sibling.
I like the fact that she was like, Johnny, kill her. And he's like, are you serious? And she's like, you want your nephew to die? He's like, oh shit, let me lock in.
He's like, all right, kill her. Yeah. And then I love when he was just like, oh, okay, I'll strap her down. She's like, no, because she's in labor. And he's like, I'm not strapping you down. Okay. But, yeah, it's cool. So they don't trap her, but they trick her because she turns invisible and they shoot off, and then she gets kind of sucked into the black hole. And Reed said that by his calculation, it's going to take her a month for her to, like, really force her way back out, which she does, obviously. But then they fly back. They're able to get back, and it's been a month since they left because of the space travel. And they have the baby now, and they come off the plane. They have the baby, and they basically now have to figure out, like, because they come off and then they have this big press conference right when they come back, and one of the dudes like, how'd you defeat Galactus?
It was Ben.
Yeah, he was like, we didn't defeat it. And then Johnny corrects him. He's like, not yet, we didn't defeat it, not yet. And they're like, what the fuck you mean you didn't defeat him? Like, what do you mean?
And then this is something I had a problem with. They came out there like, well, what was going on? And he told the world. They basically
what happened.
Exactly what happened. You know, the whole Franklin thing. He said, give me your son or I'm gonna destroy the world. I would not. It's like, why would you give the public that information to put them in a certain
you shouldn't have said that.
To put them in a certain level of panic and hatred towards, like, you need to come up with you need to take a minute, we come up with an official statement, and then be like, this is what happened, or you know what I mean? You don't just say that shit.
I think that plays on his character a little bit because he's all like think first rather than emotions and what people are gonna do. That's kind of why they have that argument with Sue. I was in the sense of, I thought you were going with the sense of like, you know how they all turned on Superman really quick? It was kind of like that too, where they're like, you didn't defeat him? Oh wait, all you had to do was give up your child? Oh, we hate you now, Fantastic Four. It was kind of quick.
No, because I understand how selfish people can be, especially when you're faced with a threat that
and billions and billions of lives.
You know what I mean? And you're thinking about the math. It's one versus us. Like, I understand it's your kid.
Because they're like, you could just have another baby.
Yeah, that's the mindset. So I understand that. I would understand the switch up way more than the Superman switch up.
True. I just thought it was really quick.
But
like, to keep the story
I don't know. Humans are selfish. I understood how
Do you think... But were you on her side of like, we're not giving up my son?
Yeah.
So, like, they're, like, boycotting them. They're sitting at the Baxter building. They're like, give us your kid! Give us your kid! It's like, all right, dude.
Then she comes down with Franklin.
Yeah. How did you feel about that scene?
I would not have put my... Well, I guess when you're the only superpowered people, kind of, you know what I mean? You can do whatever you want. Especially since she can make force fields.
It was a little...
Cliche?
No, I was going to say unnecessary.
It felt a little on the nose. I feel
like it was like... You know what it felt like? It felt like The Lion King. It felt like she was like, this is my son. Mm-hmm. And then everyone is like looking at him and he's like, don't you realize that I will do anything, move heaven and earth? And then she's like, but I won't give up my son for this world, I won't give up this world for my son. And then everyone's like, yeah, and then they all just turn around after hearing it. It's kind of like, I don't know, it just felt weird.
It was cliche because it's like on the nose. It's like, well, my mother died when me and Johnny were young. Our mom died in a car accident, and, you know, motherly instinct and blah, 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 blah. I would never give up my kid, and my mom always said I'm gonna move heaven and earth, and then everyone's like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Like, they didn't have like
they didn't think of that before.
They didn't think of it, you know, within these weeks of them rioting or boycotting or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that was too much. That's less believable for me than the fucking what you presented a minute ago with them switching up. Or, like, them switching that quickly. Like, you know what? Yeah, we are gonna support you just because you're a mom that came on here and said, you know, my mom died when I was a kid, and she told me one time about this one, you know, fucking analogy. And,
so y'all should love this baby that we have.
And I'm gonna tell you what right now. I'm not gonna give up my son, and I'm not gonna give up this planet. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. It's like, no, I'm not.
I felt like it was a little unnecessary. They could have conveyed it so much better without like putting the baby. I felt like she was like, look at my kid, look at my kid, look at me. Like, they get back. Reed's like, oh, move heaven and earth. So he comes up with the idea
to teleport Earth.
to teleport Earth away into just farther into the solar system that can house the Earth. In my head, right when he said we can move the Earth, literally SpongeBob of like, we can take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else. You know, the worm.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, so, and then I'm like, how are we gonna move the Earth?
Can I give you my thoughts on this real quick?
On what?
The moving the Earth thing.
The plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, when you're talking about this plan, the first thing that comes to my head is there's no fucking way, because I get that they went, oh, other countries are on board, and we didn't see too much of that. I feel like that should have been, because America's very a democracy, and when you bring something like this into the world of like, hey, we're gonna teleport our entire planet Earth, that's gotta be a big democracy
to be fair,
thing.
Though,
I get Galactus is coming, but there's no way.
I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna say like they didn't really like with the Captain America movies, other movies, like those are political first, so it's like we get to see all of the countries and governments. They didn't really show anything about all the other ones, so it was kind of like just infer that these people are like, since Reed Richards is the world famous Reed Richards,
just
that everyone listens to him. Yeah,
but I disagree with that. It's like, I understand you're the smartest person on the planet, but it's like, dude, we're talking about teleporting our entire planet into a different solar system, and who knows if this is gonna work? What if he finds that solar system, and then what? We're gonna keep teleport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that should.
Also, I thought that it wasn't that it wasn't gonna work, but it was just like when I think of teleportation, I'm like, what if someone like gets cut in half, or what if like you move it to a different area and the whole world shifts, or the whole world like I was thinking like that's gonna be pretty catastrophic if it's one thing wrong, you know, and it was like,
and the world's too big for everything to go perfectly. And everyone survive. Like, there's no way. Like, when they were talking about salvaging energy, I looked over to Kane. I was like, "What about refrigerators?" Like,
see, that's a little picky, buddy, because like you gotta think of it this way as well. I'll explain to my brother. It's like they're like at 8:00, everyone has to shut everything off. I think that's fair because you have to infer that the rest of the world is under the same idea that the entire world, like
but you
the
also
entire
have to
world's
take
gonna
into
die.
account that humans are selfish.
True, but then they would only be ruining their own food, so who cares about them?
Not even that. I feel like
you could still have food.
I don't know.
Like, you're talking about refrigerators, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you keep the fridge cold.
It's not even just that. I feel like.
What do you mean?
I feel like So you know how we were talking about how slow this movie was? I feel like I would have enjoyed seeing more push and pull with that shit in this movie than it just being such a slow, like unnecessary. Like, scenes just felt too long to me, where they didn't really do much. So right. I would have enjoyed seeing people being like, yo, like, or like a country being like, yo, what the fuck? Like, we aren't doing this. Like, we understand this is coming, but we don't agree with your take on teleporting the planet, and we don't want our country to fucking go.
Some backlash to the plan.
Because that's a realistic thing that would happen. 100%. Like, when COVID happened, there was people, I'm not wearing a fucking mask. There's a deadly disease out here. And they're like, I'm not wearing that fucking mask. And you got people who are like, I am wearing the mask. You need to wear Like, there's just no way there's no...
What I think it was, though, is that, not saying other countries, right? I'm just going to say America. But, like, everything is on a power grid. Yeah. So if, like, our county where we live, we're not going to disclose that, but there's a power grid not too far from here of
Orange
like the
County.
electric company. No, but we live in Smallville, so but it is kind of like a big button. If you turn that entire strip off, it shuts down this whole city.
I understand.
So
that's
like
why I'm
they
saying
probably just did that at 8, and then everyone told everyone to suck it up.
That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there's leaders of other countries who are going to say,
I was just
fuck
saying, like,
no,
in America,
we're not pushing the button.
Yeah.
So if just America's saving energy, then that's
I think
not
they were
gonna
just
be helpful.
banking on the fact that this is a planetary defense, you know, just to keep the movie moving.
But that's what I had a little bit of a problem
with.
with.
Oh no, I have a problem with it too. It was just like, hey, we have this plan, and then everyone's like, cool.
Yeah.
Instead of like questioning it. Yeah. They're like, oh, Reed's the smartest man in the world. We have to trust him.
Because I would have some questions if a man was like,
I mean, it looked like it was going to work.
We're teleporting this entire bit. I don't even like the idea of going to fucking the moon. Like, if someone's like, Deshaun, come on, it's a free ride. You blah, blah. I'm not fucking going, dude. I'm not going to the moon. Now you're going to tell me you're teleporting this entire planet to a different source? What if that sun's bad? Like, it's not as good as we think it is.
Right.
Like, or what if we teleport too close?
You're also trusting one man.
One man. What if your calculations are wrong? Like, here. Perfect example. You didn't calculate getting your powers. It was a miscalculation when you went to space and you got powers. What if you miscalculate this and we teleport too close to the fucking sun and we all die?
Right.
Like, these are realistic takes that I would have liked to have heard in this movie.
That no one kind of said anything about. Yeah, they kind of just skipped over that. That's fair. But after they like, all right, we hatched this plan. Then they do this whole montage of the whole community, everyone working with, even the mole man, everybody.
It
like,
reminded me of Captain America: The First Avenger, where they're like, it's the montage of the war. It's like even little Timmy's doing his part, and it's like and everybody's helping out.
They're building these massive machines, and I think this is where you kind of got a little skewed on the time framing of things. I know it was mainly because of the baby, but it was kind of like so. The way that they do time jumps in this is it's 50-50. In the beginning, it makes sense because, hey, we have to have 9 months of a baby. We're not going to show you all of that. But in this, they're like, okay, we're going to build this thing before Galactus gets here. And then they show Galactus at the edge of Jupiter, right? And then we kind of just cut straight to them already built the machines, and Galactus is at Mars. And they say in one of the TV things, which it was super hard to hear. Like I said, our theater was super low. But the TV thing said it was a newscaster, and he said, countries around the world have now completed Reed Richards' machine work to transport the planet to another thing. And the last 5 months, we have achieved so much. They said that. And I barely picked up on it, but it's been like 5 months of Galactus coming in slowly through. So
we were talking about this, but in my head, because Reed said we got 1 month for her to be out that bitch and come towards Earth, I'm thinking, oh shit.
Well, they didn't say come towards Earth. She'd be out of that predicament.
In my head, Galactus wants that baby ASAP.
Yeah, so but he can't move as fast. That's why. So Silver Surfer would trek out plants months and months ahead because he can't move that fast. But I think that's why they showed that, but like I said, I think if we went to Cinemark, we would have heard a lot more because I heard that it was on a it was on a TV thing where the dude's just like the Fantastic Four, all the countries have come together in the last 5 months, we've achieved so. It was like that, and so it's kind of like if you don't hear that, then you're like, wait a minute, how did we just build these machines across? It was like 50 of them across the world in so fast of time with so little resources, and he's only passing Mars, you know, but. We get that little montage. They build it, and it looks like it was just about to work. They turn it on. The whole planet's about to teleport, and then one goes down. They're like, "What the fuck?" And then Silver Surfer is like, she's fast as shit, by the way.
Going to country to country.
Country to country. Doof, 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 and you see it like basically shutting down, and then she's about to take the one in the city, the last one down. But that's when Human Torch
comes in with the pre-recorded thing,
which we skipped over that a bit, but
he figured out her language based off of just a little
it's like a little sideline story. And
which I do appreciate that.
No, I love that because Johnny is super smart. Yeah. He's not Reed smart, but he's smarter than his sister. But like, there's a reason he was in NASA. There's a reason on team. He's not just the brother that's a hothead. I think that's where Chris Evans kind of lost it in the writing. Yep. They just made him the hothead who's fucking everybody, and not as brilliant.
A flight simulator.
Yeah, which was really cool. The comic book, it's like a bunch of TVs are all around. So instead of billboards, they have TVs. So he's playing her people. Being like, thank you, Shalabal, for like saving us, and we miss you and all that. But then he switches it, and he's like, you want to hear all the other planets? And he switches it, and it's like, I don't know if you caught this. I think you laughed, but the sound system kicked on or something because they did screaming, and it sounded like Luke or someone next to us was screaming. It was so weird. They were like, ah!
Oh yeah. No, me and Luke laughed on that.
And we're like, what the fuck was that? And then she like screams, and then she shoots up to the moon because she's like. She can't take all the death that she's caused because of Galactus. And then she like flies off into space. She can't deal with it. And we're like, okay, she's gone. But, you know, she comes back at the end of the movie.
Well,
Pretty predictable.
Johnny follows her.
Yeah.
And then tries to convince her to help the planet.
Yeah, he's flying up. Also, Johnny, the fire looks great.
It does.
Looks fucking awesome. I think they killed it with that. But he was just like, I'm just trying to protect my world, you know? And like, and then she's like, well, then you would give up your baby like I did. I gave up myself. And then Johnny, I actually really love how Johnny's the sacrificial one in this. Yep. Like, Johnny's like, take me instead. I'm fine. Yep. Like, I'll do this for my fucking family and I have to protect my family.
He does that. I remember there's this one comic.
Yeah, he does that in the comics. Yeah. He's a big sacrificial person. He will always sacrifice himself more than others, even in his family, which I really love. Like, usually the one that shits everybody and the fast talker, the hothead, is the one that cares the most. Yeah. And I love that they did that. And Chris Evans didn't. That's another thing. I'm not trying to keep comparing, but that's the only other Human Torch we got other than Michael B. Jordan. Yeah. But we're not going to talk about. Say that again. Yeah. Fantastic. But so they basically, he sets up this thing to where, all right, we're going to use the last thing, teleportation thing, and we're going to trick Galactus by using Franklin as bait. And I actually really like this dynamic because Reed's the only one that's like, it has to be this way. And Sue knows it, but she doesn't want to accept it. But then both Johnny and Ben are like, that's fucking stupid. What are you talking about? And they start bantering. They're like, this is dumb. This is the worst idea. What are you talking about? This is a kid. What are you doing? It's so good. Also, another little sideline thing, because of them trying to soak in as much energy as possible, the Thing in this canonically grows a beard, which is very comic accurate because he does. In the comics, he grows beards, and he shaves it. And I love how he's using an angle grinder in the fucking thing, and it turns off, and he's like, oh, motherfucker, whatever, and he leaves. And Johnny's like, hey, a beard would look good. And I think the beard looked great. I really liked the beard. It looked cool, and it reminded me of the comics where he had a really long rock beard. It looks really cool. Oh, the way they show Galactus coming in, so fucking dope. They have him sitting on this fucking throne that he flies into.
He kind of unplugs and then gets up.
He unplugs and he gets up, and then it shows his shadow over the city, and then he's also like sitting on another throne that's letting him float down, and then he stands up from that and jumps in the water, and it creates this huge tsunami that floods the city, and he's just walking through, and he has this little look at the Statue of Liberty. I really like that. I thought that was cool.
Show the size
Yeah,
difference.
he's like,
and then he grabs the dirt and sniffs it.
And Johnny's like, the fuck? Yeah, what the fuck? And
then the goal is to try and lure him
with
using Franklin as bait, and then hit the button, and then obviously it doesn't work
because
this is what I had a problem with. What I wanted to talk about.
Okay, so he walks in.
Kind of my not necessarily plot hole, quote unquote, but this is like for me, this is kind of my version of, you know how in the Marvels, towards the end, it's like, well, why didn't she do it on this side of the portal? Why'd she go on the other side of the portal and then do what she did, and then got, like, you remember?
Wait, who?
You remember the Marvels, the movie with?
Yeah.
But you remember at the end we were talking about this because
she goes to the X-Men
and she tries to sacrifice herself to teleport whatever was. Oh
yeah, she closes the portal from the other side. Why didn't she just fly out and do it?
So in my head, the whole time, I'm not a scientist. I'm not, a strategist. I'm just using my common sense.
Just a comic book head.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
My head is thinking we got 37 seconds because that was the number.
That was also pretty high. That was kind of crazy.
That was crazy. Yeah. So when we push that button, there's 37 seconds of it closing or whatever to fully get him in the portal and go bye-bye. My head is, we're keeping Franklin here the whole time, and we're working collectively as a team to keep him in this circle. But for some fucking reason, Johnny takes him, flies him to the Baxter building. They swap out the little carriages for a normal carriage with no baby in it. Like, he's not going to be able to sense. Like, he obviously can sense Franklin because he zeroed in on him, and you guys were thinking that. Like, hey, he's going to zero in on Franklin because we're using him as bait. So, I don't know why they chose to just use an empty thing, thinking he's not going to... And then they got another 37 seconds of keeping him here, knowing that. So, like, let's say he did fall for it. Now they gotta hope that they can, keep him.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying now. So, I think you're right about the switcheroo was weird. Because it's like he scanned from the water where he was. He could see through buildings.
You guys were relying on that.
Yeah.
For him to zero in so he could come to this specific spot. I think it was more
like, because Sue was like, get him out of here. I think it was more that.
I understand.
I know it ruins the plan, but that makes sense
dumb.
on why.
It's... Because in my head, I'm thinking the whole time, we would work collectively as a team of 4. You take Franklin, you fly, Ben, hold him, and then keep him in the circle so Galactus is there. And then at the last second, Johnny's fast as fuck. Give him to Johnny, boom, right out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because Reed has so many inventions, it's just, that was kind of like a bigger deal for me, where I was like, that's...
I'm gonna say it's a plot hole.
No, that's why I said it's not a plot hole necessarily, but it's like, well, why didn't you just... Because in the mindset...
So after that, though, they like... Once the plan doesn't work, obviously, they do the whole thing where he stops. I actually do like this. I barely heard it, but it's nice. I want to hear it when we go to Cinemark. But he's just like, clever little bugs. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then he starts going, and then there's this funny moment with Herbie, and Herbie's like closes his shields, but then he just fucking grabs then everything. It's like, yes, you're my savior, my salvation, and then he's walking away with it. And I actually really like this. People might find this corny. They might find it of like, oh, well, if she could do that the whole time, why wasn't she doing that? But like,
hold on, let me say this real quick.
Okay.
There's a scientific term. It's called hysterical strength, and it's used mostly in the analogy of a mother lifting a car over her dying. So it's a real thing, and I think it works for this scene.
Well, I was also saying that, I was going to say that in the end, which we'll get to, it makes more sense because of the result that it took, even though it doesn't really matter because of what happened. But we'll get to that. But so she has this moment where she's like, "Fuck you, you ain't taking my kid," and she has that moment. So she's literally, and it's powerful. She's pushing a god back, and he's like grabbing buildings. He's like, "Ah!" Like it's crazy of how powerful she is. And in Reed's like, "Stop, stop," and I felt that was weird. That was a little weird. Where I'm like, you can't see what she's doing,
you
and
can't
then like,
prioritize
where's
your son?
Franklin? Like, and like, so she's like, "Get our fucking kid."
And here's what I have a problem with too. She said, "Get our kid," and he's looking back and forth like it's even a question. Like, "Love you, honey. We're going to get the fucking kid." Like, what? That's not. I don't know.
So they then they all start doing what they need to do. We see Thing fucking throw a semi-truck really sick. We show him his power of throwing a crane, but then Galactus just stops it and then flings Thing like into the space. And that was a nasty throw. And
can I say this? This is
okay.
Ben. This was I'm praising Ben for this. He actually thought outside the box because he was leaning back. And the reason Ben went through the pillars was he's trying to make a building fall on Galactus. So I liked seeing that.
He was also trying to take the strength because he was holding the building. So he's like, "Oh, let me get rid of this."
So I did like that. And then also,
well, it goes up to Johnny carrying Ben.
Yeah.
And that's where we get that. And he's like, "I gotta go get Ben," and we get him because he's about to freeze. And then he's like, "Say it, say it." Yeah. And he's like, "Say it." He's like, "No, Johnny, I'm not gonna say it. Say it." And he's like, "It's clobber time," and he fucking turns into a cannonball.
Can we talk about him stretching Reed?
Oh,
that was before that.
Yeah. That was perfect.
Crazy, dude.
So they basically get to this thing where they're all trying to get Franklin. So Reed is like, or something. He starts stabbing and he starts opening up.
Oh yeah.
He starts opening up the back ports of Galactus, which drains his life force. So he then grabs him, and then he starts pulling Mr. Fantastic, and they do it for a good bit. I was like, are they gonna kill Mr. Fantastic? Like, and his suit starts ripping, and it's like super fucking straight. It's like insane. I was like, oh my god, like it looked really painful. And then that's when they have Thing go, "It's clobber time," and they fucking bang into his head, and it doesn't knock him out, but it kind of like stops him from what he's doing. And then they're able to save Franklin, and then they turn the portal on, and then they suck him in there, right? And then they're like, "Okay, cool, everything's good," and she starts to like she's now like, well, she dies. We'll just say that she dies. She falls on the ground. She's breathing, and then she dies. But then fucking they do the horror movie thing of the like that. So you see his hand grab up, and he starts coming up, and he's like, and he's like Galactus. And then Johnny, I love this. He looks in. He's like, "What are we gonna do, Reed? What are we doing?" And then Johnny is like, tell Franklin Uncle Johnny loves him. And then he fucking shoots forward, and we're like, "Oh shit, he's really gonna do this." But then fucking Shalabala, fucking Silver Surfer comes in, knocks him out of the way, and she fucking hits her maker, fucking boom, right in the chest, and she takes him out, and and they go to the end of the universe. And it's a really great scene, and but it shows. That's what I'm saying. It really shows that Sue Storr really gave it her all because she died. So she is dead. And they're crying. It's a sad scene. I think it would have hit more if I could hear the music, if I could have been a part of it, but it didn't really hit for me because I kind of knew that Franklin was going to bring her back, which he does. So they set Franklin on top of her, and really it doesn't show him doing anything. It just shows his hands on her chest, and then she starts waking up. And
here's another problem I had.
Okay.
This kid is around 5 months old.
Yeah, about 5 to 6, yeah.
About the 5-6 month. He's looking at his mom, clapping his hands after this kid's fucking 5-6 months old. Why is he clapping his hands? Like, another thing
Babies do that.
Not at 5 to 6 months old. They
do.
My mom was a babysitter. I babysat a newborn. This is also
I used to babysit. I
used to babysit fucking like.
What's her name? Cindy.
Okay.
Cindy's
well,
kid.
I was looking
at
Brenda. Well, let me say this. I was talking to Kane about this when we left the theaters. As soon as they walked off the fucking space, the rocket ship or whatever.
I didn't notice this. What you're talking about?
They walked off the rocket ship, and this is in the very beginning of the movie where it kind of starts picking up a little bit because they got Franklin on Earth. She just got out of labor. It couldn't have been more than a couple days to a week, right? Because they have a baby and it's not dead. So I doubt they brought formula, or she could have breastfed, but you know what I mean. It couldn't have been longer than a week. So they're on Earth. She's holding the baby. That's like a 1-year-old, dude. They're holding the baby. She's holding it like normal. Like when you hold a newborn, you're supposed to hold it like this to support its neck for the first like 2 to 3 months.
Well, they can't see that because you're so low.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
The
like you
cradle,
got like the cradle. Yeah. You can't fucking hold the baby like its neck's gonna go like this. So when I know, like,
I didn't notice that. So
I'm like, what the fuck? They just had this baby. She just went into labor and had this kid. She's holding it like it's
I wonder if that's gonna be a big thing.
I don't know.
Like the other YouTuber, if I feel like that's going to be a big thing for this movie.
I don't know. But then I also had just a little bit of a problem. Like, it's not a big problem. I think I had more of a problem with the beginning thing that I just said than him clapping.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I've seen babies like
but
at
then
5 or 6
I told,
months, and they do that all the time.
The reason I also don't feel like it's a big of a deal is because towards the end, we get to see he's very intelligent at like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
He's reading crazy books. So I'm like, well, maybe he's super intelligent young.
Yeah.
And that would be fine.
I mean, that's in comic accurate too.
That would be fine for me. But the thing I said earlier, oh hell no, dude. They needed to do something different with that.
I'll say that the whole thing with him bringing his mom back to life, Franklin Richards in the comics, he can do a lot. I don't know if he can bring back the dead, but I know he can change realities. Yeah. So what I think he did, here's my theory I was telling Tyler, but I think he changed their reality to where she didn't die. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I feel like he's like, oh, I want to bring my mom back. And even though he's a baby, he doesn't understand his powers. He brought his mom back, but instead of like bringing her back to life as his power, which they might have changed for the MCU, but in the comics, he like alters realities. Yeah. So like, I feel like he like either did two things. He either brought her back to life by killing another Sue Storm in a different reality.
Kind of like what we saw with Wanda in Multiverse of Madness.
To do that. Or he just altered their reality entirely, altered the reality to where she didn't die from that. Okay. So we're now in a separate, like, we're still in 828, but it's a different reality to where she didn't die. And it's just, that's what I think, because we didn't see anything come out of his hands, we didn't see anything, like, power-wise. Yeah. But she wakes up, and she's like, he's more than us. And they're all crying, they're all like, okay, we're with it. And then we go to the thing where we see like the trailer thing, and they're all like, "Hey, the Fantastic Four, they saved the day again." And we get them holding Franklin, and we get to this moment they go fly off in the car, and they're shoom, and then it goes into the end credits, which was it was good. I mean, it was fun. I liked the movie for what it was. I didn't think it was anything like, I mean, it wasn't anything crazy, but I thought it was an 8. I still think it's an 8. I mean, lowest I'll go is a 7.5, just because of some of the points you brought up. That was a bit in the pacing, but I think 7.5 to an 8 is where I'll stand on it. I enjoyed it, but I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. I'm also a massive Galactus fan. I have like 2 different Galactus figurines. I collect Galactus stuff. I love him as a villain, and also I love the Fantastic Four's villains in the world. So I love the sets, I love the colors. So a lot of it worked for me where it didn't work for me. You know, just the pros outweighed the cons. I think for you, the cons were a little bit of a red herring more than the pros of what was going on.
Well, my main thing was why it's staying at a 6.5 is because what I said a little earlier. Like, even if you're 8 and above on a movie, you got to be like, because Brenda, for example, his girlfriend, I asked her after the movie, what'd you think? She's like, it was boring, to be honest. I almost fell asleep. Like, if you're even not a fan, for a movie to be an 8 or above, you have to keep the interest of people who aren't fans. And if you're not a fan...
That's fair, but I think Brenda's a bad person to use.
Well, even Luke's not a fan. Like, he's not... He knows a bit about comics. That's why he came. He wanted this to... Yeah. He wanted to see this movie, see how they were going to do. Like, he's seen the originals and blah, blah, blah. But even he was like, dude, nah, like this... It wasn't a bad movie. He wasn't shitting on it. But at the same time, he's like, this wasn't it for me. Like, this was kind of boring. Like... I didn't really know what to feel, or he's like, there were some good points and there were, a lot of a drag, but you got to keep the interest of people who aren't super. And if you're already saying that and you're not a fan, then it's kind of like, for me in my head, it's like, it really can't be an 8 or above because you're not. But then in your head, you're thinking, well, I'm a comic book fan and they did a lot of these things.
This is extremely comic book accurate. It's the same thing with why I love Superman.
That's fine. It can be comic book accurate, but it doesn't have to be a movie that's 8 or above. I think in your head, because you're a comic book fan, you're really like pulling the strings on, oh, they did this, and it really hypes up the movie for you rather than a movie as a whole.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with that because I don't think it's hyping it. There's a lot of stuff why I love it comic accurate, but the reason I gave it an 8 or 7.5 to an 8 is because it did lack in some stuff, but I also, like, here's the thing. You thought the beginning was slow and boring. I didn't. I liked that slow burner take. The pacing
Well, it wasn't
was
even
slow.
a burner. Everything we saw was in the trailer.
I know, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the first take. I enjoyed the little montage of seeing the mole people and the mole stuff. Like, my brother gave it an 8.5 to a 9 because he really loved it. It's only crazy because you didn't like the movie.
Because as a movie as a whole, it just I'm not saying I said the first thing I said when I came out of the movie is it was mid. It's a cool movie. No, I didn't dislike it, but
I know, but I'm saying that's okay. But it's fine for you not to perceive it the way other people see it. That's why it's all opinionated.
Yeah.
As a movie, it's a good movie. It's a good movie, but it's not like if we're comparing to MCU and superhero movies, then it's mid. But like, I
disagree. It's backwards. If you compare it to comic book accuracy, superhero movies, blah blah, it could be a bit higher. I could see people's point.
No, I'm saying the MCU.
Okay,
well, the MCU, it's a mid movie in the MCU.
Okay, that's fine, but still, as a movie, it's still not good. It's like it takes way too long.
I disagree with that.
The ending wasn't as impactful as. It wasn't worth the burn. Like I
also disagree with that too. I thought the ending was great.
It was really predictable. You really kind of knew it was going to happen. So I mean,
predictability, sure, but I feel like the ending fight with Galactus was really good. Really
I don't feel like there was enough for me to feel like, oh wow, this was really worth waiting for him to come to Earth for.
Right. Like I said, it's just opposite sides of that. I really like the fight with Galactus. I really like the way that they did it because he is an all-powerful being. All-powerful being. Jesus, can't speak. I also love the beginning. I love how slow it was. I like taking time. I also like the characterization stuff. That's like the same thing. Like I really loved. I think Ben Grimm was a big part of this movie and the hard nut stuff, which you disagree with. Like that's what I'm saying. The perception of this movie, I really like it.
Can I ask you something? Because you said something a little while ago. I wanted to. You said Ben was the glue.
In this movie.
Yeah, how was he the glue of this movie?
Because him being with Reed and motivating him, be like, hey, you're not that smart. Him like, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and being very close to that. Also with him and Johnny, and like when Johnny like passed out, he's like, I got you, brother, I got you. That, and it's certain things, and he's small. He's always in the background of doing stuff. Then he helps cook. He's telling Herbie like, hey, this is not because it's not good. It's because I want to add a little zip. He's always motivating people. Then when the whole thing with the kids, we don't really see that with any of the other characters except Johnny when he does that with the firefighters.
So it's a lot of the little things for you.
Yeah, but then it's also like him going through and then helping with Sue, and then like then when he's what is it when he's son of a bitch, when he's holding Franklin the whole movie, where he's taking the role of like, I know you guys are super busy, like, and he's being the babysitter, and he's like, hey, I've been reading him the big books, I know he likes him and all this stuff. That feels like glue.
Okay, I can get that.
Yeah,
but I'm still,
and it feels like Ben Grimm and not the Thing.
Yeah.
That's why I loved the Thing in this, but I Ben Grimm.
I get that.
Yeah. That's where it's higher for me.
I can see that.
That's how I looked at it.
But I'm still on that mindset of they should have.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the difference in the perspectives of perceiving this movie, because I mean it's the same thing. I think Superman was a fucking 10 out of 10. You thought it was an 8.5 to a 9.
I'm not saying they need to use him more as the Thing. Like if they wanted to do that thing with the Ben Grimm, like you're saying, I feel like I would want to have seen a little bit more. Especially I would have liked to have seen, since we've already established who they are. If you wanted to put Ben Grimm more of a presence in this movie,
right,
I would have liked to have seen him be have the identity issue of him. Like he has a really big self-identity issue because he's the Thing. You know what I mean?
But
the way
they
he
started.
looks.
I think because it was past that. It was 4 years, so they kind of skipped all that good shit. You know what I mean? That
it's
trauma.
kind of an always thing. It's not like it happened to me in the beginning and now I'm just okay with it. It's kind of a thing that always lingers with him. I feel like it's always in the back of his, like,
I feel like we got that a little bit because they took it straight from the trailer, you know, where he's looking at the TV. It's kind of implied. Also when he's talking to the girl and he's like, oh yeah, you know, and then the dude's like, say the thing, because they're looking at him as a mascot. They're like, say the thing. He's like, I don't say that. Like, come on, dude, like, you know. And then it's kind. I feel like a lot of it's implied. It's not direct, which it could be more direct to make it better.
Well, I'm saying I'd like it to be more direct because I want him involved in the movie more. And when you try and put things like that, you just imply it, I feel like it's kind of just shafting his character just a little bit. That's what I'm saying. So
that's why I said when we came out, I think this movie is going to be 50-50 for a lot of people. Let us know what you guys think. Did you like the movie? Did you think it was trash? Did you think it was, you know, somewhat mid like Deshaun thinks? Did you enjoy it? Maybe you thought it was 10 out of 10. Now, I will say, did you like it more than Superman? I didn't. I think Superman knocked it out of the park. And I think DC's about to go on a really nice run, and Marvel's going to have to keep up. We forgot the secret end credit scene.
I thought. Yeah.
We forgot the end credit scene. It's really nothing other than,
It's the back of Doom.
It's the back of Doom.
Yeah.
But it's pretty nice though. So it's 4 years later. So we wait to the credits. It's 4 years later, and we see her reading to her son Franklin, and she's reading like. They make this joke where he shows, I think it's Darwin, the evolution of Darwin or whatever. Darwinism, yeah. And she's like, no, he's read that too many times, obviously showing he's fucking immaculate, like intelligent as hell. Yeah. But then she hears like, I think it was something. Yeah. She hears something, and then she starts slowly, she sees his cape, and I'm like, and then we see, and it's this dark green cloak. I love it, but he's holding his mask in his hand like this, and he's like petting Franklin. And it's like, and she's like that, and then it fucking goes, and it says, Fantastic Four will be in Avengers Doomsday. And it's, it was good. We got to see Doom. We didn't see RDJ, and I made the joke, he probably wanted 50 million just to show his face, or to be like, well, hey guys.
So what they did is they got Kevin Feige in a cloak, and they're like, Kevin.
They got somebody in a cloak.
Just mess with the kid for a minute.
They got fucking.
Act like there's a child there. Just kind of caress it.
Yeah. They got the fucking what's his name? The fucking coffee guy, the intern, or whatever. Hey, just wear this real quick. But yeah, so it kind of sets it up because I like. Is he gonna be bringing Franklin to the MCU? Like, does he steal the jet? Cause now I thought they were gonna enter the MCU because at the end of Thunderbolts we see the plane. So I thought we were gonna enter the MCU at the end of this movie for it to line up, but we don't. So I'm kind of confused. Yeah. So but I guess we'll wait till. I mean, what's announced? What's the next movie? I don't even know.
I don't remember.
Was this the only Marvel movie this year? No, Thunderbolts. No. We had 3 movies this year.
After next year will be our next Marvel movie. I think we're done with Marvel for the year.
Do we know is it really Avengers Doomsday next?
Maybe. We'll have to look it up after.
Yeah, all right. But that's the movie so far. I'll stick to a low 7.5. Like highest is 8. Solid for me. I'm just a big fan of Fantastic Four.
I'm just staying at 6.5.
Kind of hit my niches. Yeah. I think I wouldn't say they missed the mark, but it's a good step. They didn't fail. I liked it better than Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts was great. I gave Thunderbolts an 8 as well, maybe a 9.
I think I like Thunderbolts better than this.
Really?
Yeah.
The Thunderbolts versus the Fantastic Four is kind of the team thing. So I love Fantastic Four more than that.
They also feel like a family too. Well, I don't want to get into it.
But other than that, I mean, let us know what you guys think. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let us know. Maybe this is where you end phase 5, whatever phase we're in. Maybe this is it for you for Marvel. Maybe they dropped the ball and you're like, fuck Marvel now. Yeah. I'm sticking to James Gunn. Yeah. Which, hey, he's killing it right now. Yeah. So we'll see. But thank you guys for joining us as one of the inmates here at the Asylum. Peace.